Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Studin, and together with ChiroSecure, we're going to bring you some really cool information. And these are chiropractic hot button topics. And when I say hot button, I mean right to the core of who we are. So one of the things that I do, and I do on a regular basis, is I study utilization statistics. And I've been doing that. Listen, I'm in the game 45 years, and I've been studying utilization statistics in depth to see really what helps the profession. And really, the more people we help, the more exposure the profession gets, because just about everybody gets better, and the better it is for chiropractic. So one of the things I toyed with, and by the way, you can see in the background, I'm not in my office. Today I'm at the beach, and I'm recording from the beach on my laptop, but I didn't want to not share this information with you. So you're at the beach with me. Enjoy it. The day is gorgeous. It's beautiful. There's hardly a cloud in the sky. And if you hear chirping, those are the seagulls in the background. Now, let's look at the word subluxation. Subluxation is taught in every chiropractic college, as it should be. But you know, there were two guys in 1975 in Yale University Medical School, two orthopedic surgeons, Punjabi and White, who came up with a model of biomechanical lesions. And interestingly enough, when you study their work in depth and their subsequent papers and all the research, excuse me, you'll realize that they're talking about the chiropractic subluxation complex. It's pretty much the same thing because it's got a mechanical component, it's got a neurological component, it's got a biomechanical component, it's got a compensatory component, it's got all of the things that we've been talking about. And it's been all the things that actually BJ and DD talked about historically, all the way back to 1895, all the way through. However, when you talk to, and it's funny, I'm at the beach because 5 houses down is a medical doctor. He's a primary care doctor. And we talked about chiropractic. And I actually, as many of you know, created a technology called Simverta. It's an X-ray digitizing tool, but what it does is it shows where the primary lesion is in the spine. And I said to him, and his name is James, I said to him, listen, I'd like to talk to you about that. I know you see a lot of spine cases. He says it's huge. We refer 30, 35 patients a week, and he's got a big practice, to physical therapists that come in for back pain. He said, okay, why? He says, because it's considered the standard. I said, whose standard? I said, listen, before we do that, let me just share with you, if you don't mind listening. So he goes, his exact words are, you're going to give me more of that subluxation chiro mumbo jumbo? You're going to give me more of that stuff? Those are his words. And I looked at him and I said, just a light bulb went off of my head. And I remember the work of Punjabi and White, and I looked at the work we did with Simverta, and I said to him, no, we're going to talk about biomechanical pathology. When a segment goes out of the spine, it takes the body off of homeostasis. It has aberrant neurological sequelae, and I could give you, and I said to him, the mechanism from the meniscoid on the facets, where the bone on the nerve is. We've also got the Pacinian corpuscles, the Ruffini corpuscles, stretch and crimp receptors, where it feeds into the lateral horn, over to the paraspinal muscles, which are your proprioceptors, up through the spinal thalamic tract to the brain, hits different areas through the thalamus, it clears it out, then goes back to efferent areas. He goes, it's enough. Just tell me what you have to tell me. He says, but it's all chiro mumbo jumbo, your subluxation stuff. And I said, no, it's not. I said, you know where I learned this? I studied it in courses that I actually teach now through the State University of New York at Buffalo School of Medicine. And I have AMA Category 1 credits in this technology and spinal biomechanical pathology. And he looked at me and he says, really? You have credentials through medical academia and they're teaching this? Yeah. He says, so explain it to me. And I shared with him spinal biomechanical pathology, as I just went through, but a little slower. And he says, you know, that makes sense. He says, you know, I have this really good friend. He mentioned him. I happen to know him. I've known him for years, and he's been trying to get me to refer. I was tired of his mumbo jumbo because subluxation, he's going to adjust the subluxation in the neck. That's a bone. It's ready to be dislocated, and he's manipulating it. And I said to him, well, he's doing a chiropractic spinal adjustment, which is our next topic, by the way. But I says, no, he's not. He's reseating that meniscoid in place to free up the neurological interference so the brain gets right information, the correct information, and the body can right itself biomechanically. He started referring 35 patients a week to that one chiro. But then he stopped. Why? Because his son, who was on his way into either medical school or NP or PA, whatever he wanted to do, sent him to chiropractic college. His son is now the recipient for the last 5 years of all of those referrals. It's just incredible, that one conversation where there was no disconnect. So here's the other issue. We talk about subluxation. It's very, historically, it's critical. It's critical. I ran a quote subluxation based practice for decades. Guess what? I now run biomechanical pathology based practices that have negative neurological sequelae. The word has been a roadblock to prevent the multitudes of being referred in. Oh, I'm holding on to my uniqueness. We have uniqueness. I'll get to, well, let's do that right now. When we look at how we deliver chiropractic, we do a chiropractic spinal adjustment. We don't manipulate. PTs manipulate, osteopaths manipulate. Now, why is that important? Because it's unique to what we do, and the evidence in the literature is clear that chiropractic spinal adjustment has an 800% greater effect on a neuromuscular change in a manipulation or a joint mobilization. Why? Because we're with a high velocity, low amplitude thrust, we're freeing up those meniscoids. So now the bone comes off the nerve, which is the nociceptors on the facets. Now all of a sudden we're not feeding aberrant information into the lateral horn, into the deep paraspinal muscles, to the deep piezoion channels, which are your, again, proprioceptors telling the body where we are. That's wrong, causing disparate areas to go into spasm and have pain. We're now treating the primary lesion with a chiropractic spinal adjustment. So when I went with that medical doctor and I says, listen, the PT, there is a 313% increased disability with physical therapy with a cohort of 6,400 people. 313%. Opioids with physical therapy with back pain, just back pain. Now, I'm not talking systemic issues. I'm not talking whole life care and any of that stuff. I'm talking back pain. PTs, when a patient sees a PT the first time, opioids go up by 80% in 90% of the patients. Why? Because they're not reseating that meniscoid with a high velocity, low amplitude thrust. That's our uniqueness. Not using the word subluxation to keep us unique and independent. No, that doesn't keep us unique. That keeps us separate. It's a separatist movement, and we want to be in the mix. I want to have 10 medical doctors like that referring 35 patients a week to me. A week. I want to have 10 like that. It's easy. It's easy when you build a practice based upon, and the evidence in the literature is so overwhelming. It's so overwhelming about biomechanical pathology. You know what I said? He said to me when I said we treat biomechanical pathology, he said, I kind of know what it is. I don't know how to fix it. You chiropractors do? I said, yeah, that's what we're trained for. That's the core of our practice. It's fixing that pathology and the effects thereof. He says, what does that mean? I said, sometimes it's musculoskeletal, sometimes it's neuromuscular, sometimes it's postural, sometimes it's systemic. Who knows? I don't know. We have to see what happens. And you know how we figure it out? We look at the autonomic nervous chart. And that really tells us the areas that we're focusing on. And he looked at me and he scratched his head and he said, that really makes sense. And it works. And it's in the literature. It's all in the literature. It's not when I went to school 1978 where we had nothing. There's so much out there, and you should be well read, by the way, and that's important. So we do have a unique place called the chiropractic spinal adjustment. Never give it up. You know why they wanted to give us the word manipulation? So they could lump our findings with physical therapists to redirect the patients there. It's just easy. Now, let's segue to a different topic, and we're going to go politics right now. I am the former head of my state organization in New York. And I chose not to go nationally. I chose to stay actually to do this. But ACA should be abolished. Abolished. Guess what? ICA should be abolished. We should have none of those splinter organizations because that's what they are. We fight with each other. We cancel each other out. In my state, there in New York, there were, I think, 4 state organizations. New Jersey, 7. New Jersey's smarter. They have the ANJC now. They combined all 7 organizations. We need to learn from what's going on in the healthcare world. The successful people. Physical therapists are wildly successful. Medical doctors are wildly successful. Dentists are wildly successful. There's one national organization the APTA, the American Physical Therapy Association, the AMA, the American Medical Association, the American Dental Association. Yeah, we have the American Chiropractic Association, but it's a splinter. It's not a unified organization. We need the U.S. Chiropractic Association, and I have no desire to put it together. I have no time, no energy, no desire to do any of that stuff. But there are really smart people out there who need to get together, our national organizations, and create one national organization with 50 chapters. Not 2 or 3 or 4. I think there are still 14 or 16 states who have competing organizations. Hey, you want to be philosophy based? You want to be pain based? You want to be sports based? Create a committee or create an entity within the U.S. Chiropractic Association. It's about time we stop. Let me rephrase that. It's about time we stop circling the wagons and shooting in. It's about time we stop doing that. It's absurd. It's preventing chiropractic from growing. It's preventing people from getting care. It's preventing all that's wonderful about what we know. And lastly, what's preventing really people getting well is our continuing education system. It is horrific. We do have the Federation of Chiropractic Licensing Boards. I know they just merged with the National NBC, National Board of Chiropractic Examiners. And I know there's politics involved, and I don't like this and I don't like that, but it's a start. Work it out. Sit in a room, hash it out, work it out. This is not about the who. This is about the what. I teach medical doctors continuing education credits. I teach chiropractors continuing education credits. When I register with a medical school, which I do through the State University of New York at Buffalo, School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, and a medical doctor anywhere on the planet Earth takes my course, they get credit with one credentialing entity, not in chiropractic. There are still, I believe, 14 states that mandate you go through your state board for continuing education. It's horrible. It's beyond horrible. We don't do business as a rule in a lot of states. We have the most incredible courses on stroke analysis and prevention and management, on MRI, on hundreds of things, concussion, orthopedics, evaluation and management, documentation, ethics, dealing with attorneys ethically, testifying, delivering, to children, whatever. Incredible courses. We don't bring those to at least a dozen states. Why? Because it's prohibitive. The rules they put up in front are terrible. We dealt with 2 states. It took them almost 3 years to approve our courses when we threatened a class action suit. That's unconscionable. And doctors in those states couldn't get the information. There's groundbreaking information, groundbreaking, that we bring. I have a double-boarded vascular neurologist who trained at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, a professor in a myriad of state universities. Now she runs a hospital for NYU Langone in New York City, one of the hospitals. I mean, it's one of the best neurological hospitals in the world. And she loves chiropractic and knows that we can't cause stroke. She knows that. But we'd be treating patients in the middle of a vascular incident, a stroke, and we need to recognize that and triage them to save their lives. But I couldn't get it credentialed in 14 states because it was costly prohibitive, logistically prohibitive, and can't do it. It's just wrong. So you need to lobby your board, a letter writing, email, letter, anyone. Lobby your board. Everyone should join the Federation of Chiropractic Licensing. We've already got the infrastructure for it. It's already there, part of the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners. Again, there's a lot of bad politics I do not like about that. But I don't care. Work them out. I'd rather fix something that's not working or not have something at all. I like working from the inside out and fixing things. So we've got a tall agenda. All of you have to participate in it. Listen, there's a lot. If you ever want to call and chat with me, my phone number, pencil and paper time. Ready? 631-786-4253. I look forward to doing this. I'd also like to really and sincerely thank the folks at ChiroSecure for giving me this platform, this forum, to share, I hope, what's in the best interest of chiropractic. And I want to thank you all and have a wonderful day. And come join me at the beach. Have a great day.